Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I'm gonna do another video about the Tim Drake situation. I have been hearing a little bit more rumors, and um, what do I think of this situation that they basically with his new code name and what they're gonna move forward with. Now, we all know that Tim Drake left Batman. Oh man, he left Batman like about close to 4 or 5 months ago, after the situation with the future Tim Drake that was falling through Flash time. And no, this is not Flash time like it is explained in the CW Flash. Flash time is where parallel universes go, where they don't create um, its own universe. So like these are the Elseworld storylines that we get in the comics. Where like, what if Superman grew up in Gotham City and Bruce Wayne died in the alleyway, but the Waynes found Clark instead of after the death of Bruce Wayne, or the Nail, or Kingdom Come, or all these great storylines that we all love over the past, I'll say, close to 40 years. That's where it goes into Flash time. Now that was created um, at that time when they talked about it. Like it was something that they kind of breezed over when they were doing the whole situation with with the Speed Force, to explain about the multiverse, and also where does parallel universes go. So like I said before, like in actuality, um, that's where the Flashpoint universe is, if you really think about it, because it's not an official universe. It's a different timeline that got affected by Barry Allen. So it should be considered like an Elseworld storyline, not an official parallel universe within the multiverse. But we have to see how they do it. So basically, during Tim Drake's time, he left, and now it said about a couple months ago, it looks like he was getting a superhero name. He was still calling himself Red Robin. We don't know what happened between him and Stephanie Brown. Did they break up? I hope that they did, because she in all actuality, they're better as friends, and she's not a true superhero. She's not a really good crime fighter. She's a great sidekick. I mean, she's not a great partner either, because she's not in it to win it. And I've said this in many videos, that Tim Drake has been conflicted about what does he want. And I feel that he's better. He will be a much better hero, just like how Nightwing is when he gets out of Batman's shadow and he becomes his own hero. He's not Robin anymore, because that title was given to Damian, but he was never Robin in the first place. The way they established it in Rebirth, that when he became Batman's partner, he did not want to be called Robin. He felt that he was not his sidekick, he was his partner. So he decided to take up the name Red Robin. So they went to the universe. They went to Earth 3. So they went to the universe where, if you know your multi Earths, Earth 3 is the universe where the crime syndicate is. So he meets his alter ego that became evil, and he called himself Drake. It's like, okay, all right. So basically he defeated him. He defeated him, and he realized that he can't call himself Robin anymore. He's not Red Robin anymore, because he's not with Batman. And he he was trying to figure out what his new code name is, because he wanted to become, um in his own way, what Richard became when he became Nightwing. So what they did is that they he changed his name now to Drake. So now Tim Drake is gonna be calling himself. His code name is Drake, and so now he has his new suit, which is brown and yellow, and he's going to call himself Drake. He has more of an artillery. So I don't know where they're going with this. They introduced Impulse, and they introduced a new Batwoman, a Batwoman from a different universe, and him and Wonder Girl from another universe. It's from a different timeline. So it's really weird where they're going to go with this. And Brian Michael Bendis is doing something a little bit different. What do I think of this? I personally don't like it. I don't like it. I truly do believe that they should just call he should just call himself Red Robin. He needs to establish himself as a different um person than Tim Drake. I mean, then I'm sorry, than Dick Grayson, a different person than Jason Todd, a different person than even Damian Wayne. He should establish himself as, in a way, in a small portion, he should establish himself as the tactical leader of Young Justice. He shouldn't be their Batman or Robin type for that group. They got a Batwoman. Make her the front runner. And I know how people are gonna feel about it. I'm not saying that I want SJW stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they got a Bat character in there. Make her the front runner. Make her the person that just goes in and beats the crap out of everybody. Make her their GD Bat person. Okay, they got the Flash. They got Amethyst, and she's very very powerful in her own right. They got Wonder Girl as their wonder power. So I personally believe that Tim Drake should be their person that he should be their official leader, quote unquote leader, but Batwoman or Wonder Girl should be their center point. And the reasoning of why is it's Tim Drake's way of saying that he doesn't want people looking at him. He wants everyone to be looking at the powerhouses of the group and don't look at Tim Drake because he's not the person that they should be looking at. And having him front and center as that he's their leader, everyone's going to keep looking at Tim. Everyone's going to keep looking at Tim. If you kind of do it in the way they've always done the Justice League, Superman is the centerpiece of the league. He is. I mean, you cannot second grade Superman and what he represents to DC Universe. However, when they all need somebody to lean on, somebody that can take charge of the situation. I'm sorry, no, 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 not lean on, but someone that can take charge of the situation, they go to Bruce. Bruce has trained himself to be that type of person. He looks at situations, he tactically takes it into consideration, and he comes up with a strategy that makes sure that he wins. He is a winner. Superman doesn't do things like that. He doesn't look at situations and try to tactically go himself into things. He just goes in, uses powers, gets out. That's Superman. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a firm balance. And that's how Tim Drake should treat the rest of them, but he does it in a way that makes it so everybody gets their own justice, in with pun intended, their own levels of justice, but it doesn't demean what they could truly bring to the table. And Wonder Girl should be the second to him. Batwoman should be the centerpiece. He should make her the person that should be their Bruce Wayne. And I mean, like, in a way that she's front and center. Everyone's gonna be like scared to death because they're wondering how skilled this Batwoman is, how powerful is Wonder Girl. But they win a great amount of fights mainly because of Tim Drake. Now, there's a lot you could write in there because they can go through all these successful wins, and then there's one comic where Tim gets taken out, and now they're wondering, whoa, wait a minute, we don't have Tim. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And they all are trying to figure out what do they do to try to take down these enemies, and Tim Drake's not there. That gives you a lot of character building. It also gives you a lot of growth as a team because then they realize that they have been relying so much on Tim Drake that they have not grown in their own respective fields. Wonder Girl can lead. She can lead. She's been with Young Justice for a good long time. She's been part of Teen Titans for a good long time. So and so has Impulse. But we don't know this version of Bart. This version of Bart is completely different. So in Amethyst, she's new to this game, and Batwoman, the way they portrayed her, she's from a different universe. So we don't know this team very well, and we will grow with this team. But I truly do believe that they should do almost like a Tower of Babel, where they don't realize that Tim has built this team to try to be a great team, but the team relies so solely on him that when he's taken out, they get completely dismantled because they don't know who's going to be the person that's going to give him the tactical sounding advice. They're all yelling at each other. They're all like saying, "Hey, who's going to be the leader?" And they're all slipping on banana peels. And that's how I feel they should have done it. It should be that level of writing. But we got to see we got to see what Brian Michael Bendis brings to the table. Um, and I want to talk a little bit about Tim Drake and again really emphasize that I want to give this a chance. I want to get this on the DC streaming service so I can actually read the comics. I want to give it a chance. Tim Drake is my favorite Robin out of all the Robins. Next to Tim Drake is Dick Grayson. I grew up with Dick Grayson, so I love Dick Grayson. But there's something very, very unique about Tim Drake that makes him so set apart than the rest of them that you really got to look at his skill set. Look at his kit, because as a Robin, he wasn't Batman's sidekick. He was a partner. The way Bruce used Dick, he used Richard as more as a sidekick, and he was a sidekick. He used Jason as a sidekick, and he believed that that's what got him killed, because he really emphasized a lot on Jason and tried to forge him into this great hero. But Tim Drake, he did completely different. He used him as a completely different type of hero, and that actually made him a much better hero, and it made Bruce a much better mentor, because he wasn't training to be a psychic. He was training to be a partner. And that's what he's trying to utilize with Damian, but now he's in a different mindset, because he's not because now it's his son, and he now has to think differently about how how he has to mentor his own son. He's not mentoring to be a hero. He's trying to mentor him to be a good person. And I do want better growth with Damian. I don't want snobby Damian. I don't want aristocrat Damian. I want Damian to become a much better fleshed out character. Now, when Tim Drake first came to the scene, he was eager. He listened. He listened with every ounce, because he understood that Bruce is doing everything he can to make sure this kid survives. But when Tim started to have his own levels of confidence, he did not have great levels of confidence. He was in a way, he was sheltered. He didn't understand. That's why he went to Dick Grayson for a lot of advice. And Richard told Tim to basically be himself. Don't be like Batman. Definitely don't be like me. Be your own hero. Be your own person, and you're gonna grow. You're gonna grow. But what Richard did not realize is how brilliant Tim Drake was. When Tim started to forge his own destiny and became his own Robin during the later '90s. And then he had his own suit that was black and red, and he had the staff for the first time when he got trained by Richard. Richard started to realize this kid is extremely intelligent, and Bruce didn't realize how intelligent he was until he took the bull by the horns and led. And when he led the new Teen Titans, and he led the new Young Justice, they realized that this kid is actually a forged hero in his own right. He could become a phenomenal hero, and that's why I love Tim Drake. He deserves as much or more respect than Damian Wayne, because we've had him since 1986 or 87. And that's flat. He became Robin within that year. And he's been Batman's Robin for as long, not nowhere near as long as Dick Grayson, but he's been with Batman as long as any other Robin. The only other Robin that's been with him maybe as long is going to be probably Jason Todd. But maybe it's Jason Todd, or maybe even Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne's about to start catching up to even Jason Todd's legacy as being one of his longest Robins. But we're gonna finally get Batman, not Batman anymore. We have that already. Batman has put down the cowl, and he's gonna walk away from being Batman for a little while, because of the death of Alfred. So I'm sorry, spoilers. So yeah, in City of Bane, Alfred's dead. He's legitimately dead, and Bane got defeated and he got put away. And I don't know what the heck they're doing with that. I personally believe that they should have had Batman seal him away in a magical realm. He should have put him in a magical prison that was built to basically keep Batman, that even Bruce can't get out of. And the only way Bruce was able to get out of it is because he had to learn magic. Bane does not know magic at all. He doesn't understand magic. He's never even thought of magic. He's always been about science and actually using his own physicality to overcome all odds. But he has no venom, and he's stuck in a prison that's made to actually keep Bruce Wayne in here. So I would have done that. And he's being looked at by not just Dr. Fate, but by the House of Mystery. The House of Mystery is looking over the prison that Bane's kept in. That's how I would have wrote it. And then you had Holly Robinson, and I stated this in a previous video that I would have had Holly Robinson get completely screwed over by Catwoman and put on and she goes on this murderous tirade to go and to take down Catwoman, and basically she quote unquote admits that she's the one that killed all those people and gets herself thrown in jail, and Catwoman is the one that put her to justice. So you could have had her where you could do it as a gigantic middle finger to Holly Robinson, who was again the second Catwoman. It was only Selena Kyle and Holly Robinson who were Catwoman. Okay, so there were only two Catwomen in publication history. Um, I think there was also Helena Wayne. I think she put on the Catwoman suit for a little bit before she became her own hero, but that's here or there. I'm not 100% sure on that, but but that's how I would have done it. I would have ended City of Bane where Bane took out. I'm sorry, where Batman sealed Bane in a prison that was constructed to keep even Batman in there. That Batman cannot escape. But the only way Bruce was able to escape is he literally had to learn magic. He had to break the magical seals, and even then, he knows for a fact even Bane doesn't know these seals. It's made out of a language that took Bruce a long time to figure out. And Bane doesn't think of languages like that. You could write it in where that Bane looks at these things and he's like he's trying to figure it out, and he doesn't know because he's still withdrawing on Venom. So his mind is not there. So all you got to write is that it will take him time, but he might be able to get out. That's the reason why Batman put him in the House of Mystery. He said the moment he breaks one of those seals, let me know. Let me know. And he'll come in and he'll reseal. He says, well, we will reseal it, so he cannot get out. He's gonna make sure that Bane will never get out of there. But you can write like 2-3 years down the road, Bane gets out, and they're wondering how the heck that happens. He's supposed to, hey, you guys supposed to tell me, and they're like, well, we were dealing with this. We didn't know. House of Mystery did not even know. You could easily write these things in. It would have made a lot more sense. But you should have sealed Bane away and wrote him off the shelf, so then you can put another villain in his place, and Bane is off the board for a little while. And you can easily bring him in a great huge comic of how the hell did Bane get out of that prison? And the House of Mystery did not even know it. How did that happen? You could write a lot of stuff on that. Two, the whole thing with Holly Robinson. She vows she will get back out at Catwoman. Catwoman's like, good luck with that. You're going to serve like 50 sentences of murder, first degree murder. You're going to be in prison for the rest of your life. She's, nope, I'll find a way and I'll get out of here and I'll make you pay. And you got this whole thing where, the whole house of cards that they built is starting to slowly unravel. And it has nothing to do with them being together. It's more in the fact that they're thinking like, nope, there's no way they're going to get out of this. Batman's always going to have a think, nope, he might get out of this. That's why he put contingencies. Catwoman doesn't give two S's. If she gets out of prison, she'll kill her. Her love and her care and family towards Holly is dead. The moment she found out that Holly's the reasoning why she broke up Bruce and Catwoman. But she's more angry at herself for falling for it, and now she doesn't know if it can be fixed. And she's like, can it be fixed and should it be fixed? And that's where I think that they should have did. That's what I think they should have did. So when those two were together, they actually talk it out and they realize that maybe them getting together, them getting married was not the best choice for them. They're better not being tied down with anything, because that means that they have the freedom to do what they wish. Bruce could still be Batman. Bruce can still have what he wants. And Catwoman can at least still be able to have Bruce have Batman all to herself whenever he kind of needs his itches scratched. But he's not going to go after her in a tormented way that he's going to throw her in jail or anything. They're going to play that cat and mouse game, and that's perfectly fine between the two of them. They are happy that way, and I think that's how they should easily do their easily do these characters. Now, going back to Tim Drake, I still believe that they should have built Tim Drake from the ground floor. They should have had him very confused. He didn't know what he was gonna do. He and Holly, I'm sorry, not Holly. I'm sorry. Wow. He and Stephanie had a huge fight, and she walked out on him, but never returned. And the reason why she never returned is because she left and literally went to another side of the country. She literally does not want anything to do with him because she knows that he will always want to be a hero. He will always want to help people. This is who he is, and she doesn't want nothing to do with it. She pretty much is out of the game. She is completely out of the game. Now, I don't know this Batwoman, and people can say, well, this is their Stephanie Brown of that universe. I don't want that. I don't want Batwoman to be the Stephanie Brown of that other universe of Earth 3. I don't want that. I don't want a Stephanie Brown with Tim Drake. I honestly believe that Tim Drake being with Wonder Girl is our way of having Bruce with Diana. In my personal opinion, because Wonder Girl had I believe she had a flirtatious relationship with Tim for a long time, but he never pulled the trigger. Both of them never really pulled the trigger, and that's mainly because they've always felt they were really better as friends. I personally think that they should pull the trigger and take it slow. There's no reason to rush. Tim has literally four different women in his life, and every single one of them has always found all storylines have found a way to break them up. Take their time with this one. They're teammates. They've been teammates before. They've been teammates for a very long time. There's no reason for this to get rushed. I think that having an easier time with it and having this grow, and you can also make a triple threat with it with Batwoman. If you could say that she's actually attracted to Tim, and she because of her situation with the Drake in the other universe, but she starts to realize that no, this is not what she wants. It's going to be toxic. And you can write it as that it's toxic. You can write it where she's being aggressive. You could write it that she's being very risque with being taken charge. She's doing things that's trying to get Tim's attention. That's going to get the team killed. And Tim is trying to say, hey, whoa, what's the problem? And it makes kind of a huge friction between the two of them because she is attracted to him. She's physically attracted to him, but she doesn't know she's emotionally attracted to him or psychologically or romantic side of her. She doesn't know that all yet because she has been probably in a toxic relationship with the Drake, and she doesn't know. And that's how I believe they should build the character. Build her to be flawed, but she's slowly building her character back up. And then the same thing goes for Tim. You should have did a mini series arc with just Tim Drake in a city, and I said this in a previous video. I'll hunt that video down before I finish everything up here, and I'll put that video up. It literally is what I would have done with Tim Drake before joining with Young Justice, and it literally tells you that I would have made him do some Sherlockian Holmes storylines. It's a mini series. It's very grounded. He does some superhero stuff, but it's mostly him just solving mysteries. He's almost in the vein of a Ralph Denby or a Plastic Man, and I don't mean in that type of writing sense, but I mean in that mystery sense. They just go after crime. They just go after crimes and they solve mysteries. And you basically build him up to make him realize that he's better as a hero and he wants to help people, and he's a great detective, and that's how you build his character. He wants to be a detective. He doesn't want to be a cop. He doesn't want to be a cop because that's not what he wants to do. He wants to be a detective, and he's phenomenal at it, and he understands it better than any other person because who was his mentor? Batman. And he believes and he knows in his heart of hearts he's a better detective than even Bruce. He knows it, and Bruce knows it. So that by him being with Young Justice for a little while, it's gonna help him grow as a much better hero. And guess what? At the very end of the comic, before he gets brought up into the situation with the Young Justice, he and Bruce sit down and they have a huge talk about why did he leave. This is what you want to do. I'm proud of you. I'm more proud of you than I've ever been, and I think that even your dad will be just as proud of you. This is something I hope that even my father would be proud of. And you have Tim that says, no, I think both your parents would be proud of the person that you are. Most rich people would just throw money at the situation. You didn't. And you're willing to sacrifice your lives like they would to make sure this city is safe. I think your parents will be proud of you. And you have this huge moment between Tim and Bruce because they are looking at each other as they are orphans that were killed, that were built off of the tragedy, the after I'm sorry, off of the murders of both their parents. And in one way, Bruce went down the path of went down the path to become Batman. Well, on the other side, I'm sorry, not, wow, let's call him Damien. Tim would have done it, but because of how Bruce told him, no, you cannot do this because because of this. This is not what Jack Drake would have wanted, and he's hoping that one day that Bruce would actually take his own advice at one point, but he also knows that Bruce cannot change. Batman has to be the way he is. Bruce has to be that way, and he loves him regardless. He loves him more than he loves him as much as he loves his own mother and father, because he knows that Bruce does love his kids. He loves Richard. He loves Jason. He loves him, and he loves Damian, but he just cannot show it because he has to be in Batman mode almost all the time. And Tim knows this. He's known this for years. That's why he tries to be as serious as Bruce when he can, but he also tries to have that levity as Dick Grayson whenever he's around when he's around Bruce. So he hold on to his humanity as much as possible. But when S hits the fan, Tim just gets just as serious as Bruce, and I think that that's one of the best things I love about Tim Drake, because he is a firm balance between Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have the ruthlessness of Bruce Wayne, but he makes it up with his intellect, and he makes it up with his tenacity, and he makes it up with his determination. He's not the best fighter out of all of them, but he is the most strategically inclined in all of them. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody can try to say, well, Damian Wayne, that doesn't mean jack squat. That doesn't mean jack squat, because it takes experience to have that level of skill and ability. And Tim was already building himself to be that the moment he became Robin. The moment he became Red Robin, he was building himself to become that. And the way they wrote him over the decades, he has become the best strategic out of all the Robins. Dick Grayson even states it. Batman has even stated it. That dude, no, Tim can run the company. Tim can run that team. He knows what the hell he's doing. He's not laxed. And the thing about Tim is he thinks 15, 20 steps ahead of everybody. The only person he cannot truly outmatch is Bruce. And that's because, again, Bruce has more experience. He understands. And that's why I love about Tim Drake. He is exactly what would happen if Bruce lost his parents but did not devoid himself into becoming Batman. He became a firmer balance, a true firm balance. And then Hawk agrees with me on it, and a few other people agree with me on it. I hope you do too. If you don't, that's okay too. But this comic, this Young Justice comic, I hope that it gets a good amount of views. I hope some people read it. I hope that this Drake situation doesn't last for very long, because I'm gonna hit this one final point and then I'm gonna end the video. Um, I mentioned it in a previous there was a mention in a previous video that a Robin loving YouTuber out there, he brought up something that really 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 made me go, oh no, they can't do this. There's a huge rule that Dan Didio created whenever they do crisis events. Now I don't know if they're going to do another crisis event. They promised not to do any more crisis events after Rebirth. Rebirth is supposed to be the final. Doomsday Clock is the final Rebirth. They're not going to do any more crisis events. Now, that could be that was told to us by Jeff Johns, and we could trust his word as much as we could trust a paper airplane in a hurricane. But but sorry. But we can easily hypothesize that if that well Dan, like I said before, Dan Didio put in a rule that every time they do crisis events, Robins are safe. Dan Didio has been wanting to kill Dick Grayson Robin for decades. but he can never do it because Dick Grayson as Robin has been so popular. He tried to do it when he was Nightwing. Can't do it. Everyone loves Dick Grayson as Nightwing. They couldn't do it with. They got rid of Jason Todd. He was already dead before Crisis. Let me see. After Crisis on Infinite Earths, he was dead after Crisis on Infinite Earths. He died in his own. He died in a Batman comic. He didn't die of the results of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And even in Final Crisis, they tried to kill Tim Drake, but they couldn't do it. Tim Drake has had a good cult following, and he was Robin at the time. He was Robin at the time during all this. And they killed Damian Wayne, but they brought him back. And he's never survived in a he's never dealt with in the middle of a crisis event. They never had him in the middle of a crisis event. So we have the Red Hood. He's too popular. They're not going to kill him off. Nightwing, they're never going to kill off Dick Grayson. They're never going to kill off Dick Grayson. They can change him. They can do that whole shot in the head and he becomes Rick Grayson however they wish. But Dick Grayson is not going to die. Okay? Only in Injustice they killed him off. And that was part of a story. That was part of a story to show the de-evolution of the heroes to becoming villains. Okay? But Damian Wayne, he's getting very, very popular by a huge margin, and that's mainly because he's Bruce Wayne's kid, and a lot of people love that gritty type of nature with Robin. They feel it's quote unquote something different, but it's not. It's just Jason Todd all over again. It is. It's Jason Todd all over again, but just better skilled. But now we have Tim Drake, who's being ignored by the DCEU, the DCAU, the DCU themselves, and sometimes DC Comics. He's been in some animated movies and stuff as Red Robin, but he's not very popular. And now he changed his name from Red Robin to Drake. A lot of people and I'm joining. I'm about to join in on this, and I think that they're pivoting to kill off Tim Drake. They're gonna get rid of Tim Drake. And if they do that, I am done with DC. I'm done with them. Anybody can toss this over to DC Comics. I've been a huge fan of Tim Drake since 1992. And when they introduced him when they did Nightfall, and he did Nightfall and tried to take on John Paul Valley as Azrael, and he tried to get Dick Grayson to help him out. He did all this stuff to try to keep Gotham City from falling. I started to love this character. Then he went off to do Young Justice. Then he went off and tried to do Teen Titans. He grew, and I love Tim Drake. He's brilliant. He's great. He's a great character. And if you guys kill him off because of Dan Didio's fetish from wanting to kill a Bat family member, hey, go kill Batwoman. Okay, go kill Stephanie Brown. She was a Robin. She was Batgirl. I mean, there's other people you can try to kill, and then see how your comic's gonna tank. But Tim Drake, he's fodder if you really think about it. I mean, we have a good amount of people that watch my videos about him, and it's getting really good views and watches, and I'm very happy with that. We have a good amount of people, but I don't want to do no petitions about it. I mean, it's a business decision, and we should all go, okay, if it's a business decision, then I don't have to invest in your business. Comics are starting to drop right now. Marvel's screwed. Marvel's kind of screwed. Top Cow is screwed. Image just closed its doors. That from what some of the stuff I heard, there's a lot of things going on in the comic industry because nobody's reading comics anymore. And if I'm hearing that DC is skyrocketing their prices up to $8 just for a comic, yeah, you're pretty much gonna watch the end of DC. DC is screwed. I think they should keep the prices the way they are and invest in their DC streaming service and just get rid of the comics in general and just put them all on the streaming service. People will buy it. Or create an app. Create an app. Create the app that makes you want to read the comics. Say, hey, comics are free for $7.99 a month. That's the way you do it. And you get people want to invest in your comics. Comixology's making a killing off of their comics. People are buying those. But if you want to get just straight DC stuff without having to put money towards Marvel or all the other independents out there, then yeah, buy up all their stuff and watch how fast people are going to buy it. No one's going to spend $8 on one comic when you could just spend the $8 a month and just get all the older comics and everything else, and slowly it's going to grow. You got the TV shows and old movies and such like that. So I mean that is my opinion about it. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen. I'm just saying that that's what I'm hearing, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen. I would love to get myself back into reading comic books again. I just don't have the time. I got making videos here. I got streaming, and then I also got my 40-hour a week job. Man, I got my day job to go to. I mean, I would love to sit down and read these comics. What I want is I want DC to have respect for these characters. You could tell whatever story you wish, and we'll judge it by, by saying yay or nay, but don't kill off these characters. Let these characters breathe. Let these characters grow. Tim Drake has been around for a very long time, and there are teams out there that will love to have this character on there. He's brilliant. He's a strategic genius. And you're shafting him because of Damian Wayne. Okay, I understand that's Bruce's kid, but so is Terry McGinnis. Terry McGinnis is genetically Bruce Wayne's kid, created by Amanda Waller and Project Cadmus and Project Batman Beyond. You guys put that in. That is straight canon. It's canon. And you never changed it ever since Rebirth. You never changed it. They keep saying that nope, Terry McGinnis is the genetic son to Bruce Wayne. He is the genetic brother to Damian Wayne. And you already wrote in that Damian Wayne is nowhere in sight. And he's not Batman. He's still Robin because of his choice. And I love that. I actually like that. I'm like, yeah, he should embrace being Robin. I mean, Dick Grayson will never trade in his time as Robin. He loves himself being Robin, but he loves himself being Nightwing. Jason Todd just gets pissed off over what happened to him as Robin. Tim Drake will love to basically kick Damian Wayne to the curb and become Batman's Robin again, but he knows that's not his role anymore. He needs to grow out of that. He's not Robin. He's the Drake. Yeah. Whatever. That's fine. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. So I'm gonna leave the movie. I'm gonna leave this whole thing here. What do you guys think? Like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Tell me what you guys think. I mean, I really, really do love Tim Drake. I will keep making videos about it. There are gonna be some videos I'll talk about Impulse and Wonder Girl, and I'm hoping that they bring in Connor. I and one there's one video I'm gonna make, and it's I'm not gonna say a theory, but it's something I really really wish they did, and I talked to Hawk about it, and even he thought it was a really good idea. But we have to see what it is, and we definitely do got to see what it is, and I hope that they take that into consideration. But yeah, hit that bell. I will try to get as many videos as I can out. And like I said, I will look into my older videos to find out one about that backstory about Tim Drake, and I'll link it down in the description. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye.